Important that each new generation born on Summerisle be made aware that here the old gods aren't dead.
And what of the true God, to whose glory churches and monasteries have been built on these islands for generations past? Now, sir, what of him?
Well, he's dead. He can't complain. He had his chance, and in modern parlance, blew it.
What?
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Cindy Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Death.
And boy, do we have a film for you. It's another Monica pick this week. Is actually a Monica mandatory. And it is maybe Monica's top 5 favorite film right here. We're going all the way back to 1973, so we can do a full comparison to see if Late Night with the Devil really nailed the tone. Very different movies, though. We're doing The Wicker Man, not the one with Nicolas Cage.
But no
why
bees
not?
in this movie, unfortunately.
I would love to do the one with Nicolas Cage, though I've never stayed awake for the whole movie. So there's that. But this is a work of art, and The Wicker Man from 2006 is not, it's something, but it's not
a movie.
It's a movie, and it has some incredible acting choices by a man I love deeply, which is Nicolas Cage. But this movie is so completely, totally different. It's insane. I'll start reading the IMDb logline now to get it out of the way, but the logline is: a Puritan police sergeant arrives in a Scottish island village in search of a missing girl who the pagan locals claim never existed.
Dun dun dun.
And yeah, oh man, I think the first time I watched this movie was over the summer, again for Raiders of the Lost Pod. I think this is the first movie I watched in the marathon of 26 movies. This is the very first one, and I was fucking exhausted. I had just gotten done with the AIDS life cycle. I literally just gotten home from riding 545 miles on my bike from SF to LA. My knee was fucking swollen as all hell, and I did not have my wits about me. How about that? Let's put it that way. But this was like a beautiful soothing balm for my bodily ills. And now that I've seen it 3 times, because I've watched it twice in the last day, this is really like, I might get a tattoo from this movie. Like, things are happening fast. It's crazy.
Is it gonna be a tramp stamp?
I was trying to figure out the placement. I want to get the fucking stupid ass sun from this movie tattooed on my body.
I think that would be a great tramp stamp.
No, honestly, I was considering it. I was like,
I want a
Do I
tramp
get a
stamp
tramp
so
stamp?
badly.
no one would ever see it because I only wear high-waisted shit, but it'd be like a little joke for me.
You can get some of those pants that have like a little cutout in the back or something.
Oh yeah, I'll start
high
cutting a
waisted
hole
Get
in
you some
all
night
my
in the back.
custom tramp stamp window pants.
Put one of those. Have you seen those pants that are like the plastic panels? And
Yeah, we'll do
everyone's
like the
every time
clear
you fart,
panel.
it's gonna
Cloud up.
Anyway, yeah, we're really inspired over here. Had either of y'all seen this movie before?
No, and I did not know what to expect for some reason. I think maybe because people had said there were Midsommar themes in common. I thought it was going to be like Swedish, and for some reason I was picturing, okay, I don't know how to pronounce this, the Gavle goat, you know, the big goat that they do in Sweden for Christmas, and then sometimes it burns
No.
and sometimes this is like people talk about it on Tumblr, so I know about it
Big
from Tumblr.
Swedish goat. Google search.
Gavle, G-A with the little
I see
dots
it.
on it, V-L-E, goat.
Okay.
But I guess that's
Gavle.
Christmas, and
That's how you
this
say
is spring. So I don't
This is
I don't
Mayday,
know. I
baby.
just assumed, you know what I mean? But I was definitely surprised by, well, I was also surprised that it was a musical. Nobody
Yeah,
told me
I
this
was
movie
shocked
was a
at the
musical.
amount of singing.
Yeah, I did that thing that both Wonka and Mean Girls did to everyone in the
I'm just gonna
in the
keep it low
world,
key.
where they released the trailer and cut out all the songs, and you had no idea you were getting yourself into a musical. That's what I did to you.
Audiences
that's
are
how
not gonna watch Wicker Man if they know it's a musical. We've got to hide that detail.
Honestly,
I would have been more interested if I had known that it was a musical.
Thank you. And if there's someone listening now who's not into musicals and is like, oh, I'm definitely not going to watch this then, like, it's the most like perfectly combined musical I've ever seen. Like, that's not a good way to say it. It's like, it feels so natural that they're singing.
It's
It
not
just
a
feels
musical
right.
in the sense of like Anna and the Apocalypse being a musical.
Not at all like that.
It's a musical in the sense of like music is such an ingrained part of their culture that you're visiting in this movie. And it's also like, it almost is like the music has its own magical properties. Like I was telling my hairstylist about it earlier while I was getting my hair done. And I was like, it's almost like hypnotic, the music in it. Like it's very much like playing a role in the sort of sinister nature of the horror, even though it's also cheery.
Yeah, it's not like Sergeant Howie is turning around and being like, I'm a Christian man here on an island. Like, it's not that. Like, you're right. It does like give you the vibes, but also it tells you a lot about the culture, but it's not like moving the plot along in the same way that a musical number would be.
It's a cultural musical. Like these songs are just a part of the weird little cult they've created on the island, and they sing just like how we sing the new Jojo Siwa song all the time. Like
Oh, yeah,
it's
we
exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's our
Aren't you guys-
culture.
Yeah.
And you should really respect it if you're coming to our island.
Seriously.
Our gay little island. I don't know if you've ever heard of this genre called gay pop.
Very
Maybe.
newly invented.
It's brand new. It's just existing. I guess all the music that I've been listening to for years that I've referred to as gay pop was
just
not
regular
that.
pop.
You were
Chappell Rowan,
mistaken.
no.
Yeah.
Troye Sivan, no.
No.
Kylie Minogue, no.
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 Jojo invented it.
It's JoJo Siwa. She invented
JoJo
it,
Siwa.
and we can go talk to her about it. Her studio's on Magnolia in Burbank, and I drive past it all the time.
I'm
That's
on my
not
way.
a secret. I didn't
Let's go.
reveal anything.
Wow, Monica
I
putting
didn't reveal
JoJo
anything.
Siwa on blast.
I'm doxing JoJo Siwa. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I didn't inform you all about any of this. This is like a fun thing where I didn't inform you, unlike Possession when I didn't really inform you and it said you were scared and sad. This is fun times. It's good times. And the music is actually like really, really good and really, really like influential to just like music of the world at large. Like these songs were written by a man named Paul Giovanni. And obviously like folk music was big in the 60s and the 70s, so that was already happening. But he wrote all of these songs, and then apparently in the 90s there was like a huge resurgence for this movie. I don't know if there was like a re-release or something like that. But that's what it was. They re-released the soundtrack in the 90s. And bitches went fucking crazy. And you know how we have like all that fun, like indie folk music that we had through the 90s and the 2000s? Like it was inspired by this. Like it specifically said, like, Devandra Banhart. Yeah, that's because of this. I was like, okay, I fucking love that shit. So
this movie's impact.
It's giving me everything. It's giving me everything. And it's also was a huge shit show, so I hear, to be created, and all the best things are, aren't they? It apparently the whole thing was filmed in winter, but they're wearing in Scotland. I don't know if you've heard about that. The winters of Scotland, and they're very mild, actually. No.
Yes, that's what everybody says.
Yeah. it was like fall, winter time. So everyone was fucking freezing cold, wearing their cute little sundresses. Um, and so everyone was miserable. Apparently everybody got like really fucking drunk because that's was commonplace in some of the
Sure.
places that they were at in Scotland, and they're like, let's live like the people live. So
When in
everyone
Rome,
was
baby.
wasted. But I think that what I really take away from this movie is a new appreciation for 1970s starlet Britt Eklund. I think that's my big takeaway. That's Willow. She's the
landlord's daughter.
Yeah, the landlord's daughter.
I love about her, it's like her Scottish accent was so bad, and so it's like not her speaking in the movie.
Oh,
It's not
what?
her singing in the movie. It's not her butt in
It's
the
not her
movie.
butt.
And she was
No.
pregnant during this movie, and they talked about how like it took 4 different actresses to play her,
Which is
basically.
It's so funny though that she didn't even do the nude scenes, because one of the IMDb trivia entries is that her boyfriend Rod Stewart, so also
Yup.
her boyfriend Rod Stewart, who my mama used to love, her boyfriend Rod Stewart wanted to block the release of this movie because he heard that his girlfriend was doing a nude scene in it, and then it's not even her butt.
The wig that they use, and you could like tell because the
For
hair
Merkin?
is so different. No, like the head on her hair for her butt, like it's
Oh.
not the right length. It's not the right
I was like, how do you
color.
know what her actual pubes look like that you could tell that it was
I
a
think
bad
we
wig?
can tell, Monica.
I think you can
It's
tell.
pretty obvious.
The bush was a big takeaway for me. Sorry. That's like a big takeaway for me from this film. We haven't had good bush representation since what was that? Blood Spattered
Blood
Bride.
Spattered Bride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was great bush
So-
representation.
Great bush representation. I just love how this movie like drops you into it too. Like you just have this beautiful shots of our Sergeant Howie on his plane. It's so beautiful. That's South Africa, by the way. Um, and they get there and it's just like automatically like so many caricatures right away. Like I love these like seafaring men that bring him in. They all
You know,
look
like the gaggle of old men that are always like out by the shore.
Out by the dock.
yeah. Well, they're wearing like the age old like caps and hats that those men would wear. Like, you know, when you go to the thrift store and there's always like a wooden, like whittled statue of an old seaman. That's like that. They looked exactly like that. It was crazy. But yeah, I just think honestly the plot of this movie is so interesting, and the whole way the story unfolds, the twist that we will get to later on. But like knowing what you know towards the end and then watching this movie again is such a joy. It's definitely one of those for me because it's just like you can see how much is going into it. Because basically, Sergeant Howie is a beautiful Christian man with a very gorgeous voice. He has a gorgeous speaking voice that's very loud all of the time.
I like the way he says girl with like it's like rhymes with squirrel.
Yeah, yeah. And he is, he's a cop. Boo. But
Boo.
he's there with a good Christian purpose, which is to find a young girl, Rowan, who has gone missing, and he received an anonymous tip just to him.
Him specifically.
Him specifically.
That didn't
come
send
to
up any
me.
alarm bells. That didn't seem really weird at all to him. He said, actually, I'm a hero. I'm a Christian man and I'm a hero.
I'm a Christian man hero. And that is
And
what
I can fly
do.
a plane. Yeah, so I'm all over it.
Yeah, he can fly a fucking seaplane. That's cool. Too bad he immediately sucks. Because, like, immediately you are informed that this is a big group of fucking freaks. Like, semen aside, okay? Second thing that he does, the second thing he does is visit the mother, May. And that also is incredible. I love all the bunny shit in this. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's not a silly
The
bunny.
hair.
It's a hair.
Yes.
I love the hair imagery in the film. It's very meaningful. But you just immediately are finding out that this is a very amazing, eccentric community. Look at all the delicious sweets and treats that May has to sell. That's amazing. They're all bunny themed. We love that. Why can't we have nice themed things? He's having none of it. No fun. All business. Come on, live a little. There's just a small
He's
child's life on the line.
Yeah, he's got some big hater vibes. Like, okay, so a child is missing. Obviously, that's not good, but you're gonna come in and you're just gonna disrespect a whole culture off the bat? Like, learn a little, maybe. Have an
Come
open
on.
mind, maybe.
Have an open mind, maybe. Seriously. I think that like the beginning of this movie, it feels like it could be just like, any old movie, except they are singing that song about the corn a lot. There's the corn
It's
and it
the
keeps
corn
coming
is
back.
Bonnie
And the
and
The
Bonnie.
Bonnie corn, something else, another word that is said a lot, rolls of it, maybe. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but it's giving harvest. It's giving up ideas of the harvest. But like the second he walks into the inn, I just wow. Nothing could have prepared me, also not knowing that this was a musical, for the landlord's daughter song.
yeah.
Oh
Really,
God.
right away, immediately, they're like, she's a slut and you could fuck her if you didn't want to investigate this potential murder. Have you thought about that? Did you consider it? Would you like to consider it now?
Every guy and every girl in the club is like, yeah, we've all fucked her.
We've all
That's
fucked
what
her.
she's here
She's
for.
great. When she walks in the room, everybody gets big boner.
Big boner, tented pants. That they literally say that. They literally
And she's
say
like,
that.
that's so true. That's her.
So true. I am so hot. I am earth-shatteringly hot. And she
Right.
is
Like she's
earth-shatteringly
like,
hot.
it's actually not objectification if I feel that it is a celebration of me and my womanhood and my sexual prowess. So I sign off on everything here.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's true and yes.
It's
And the best
empowering.
thing about her is about me is definitely what's in between my left toe and my right toe. Is that what the line was? That was
Yeah.
that was the craziest
Classic.
part. Like the shot of the feet. Oh my God. So that's like a very orienting scene for the moviegoer. You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, okay, shit's fucking insane.
They're like, after this, you should really understand what movie you're getting into because
Yeah.
this is the most we could do to prepare you for what comes next.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fucking, a lot of sucking, and a lot of singing, and now you're oriented with that. Now you know what's going on. Because, like, honestly, like one of my biggest takeaways from this film is that, like, get me on a seaplane to Summerisle. Like, that's my takeaway. Like, get me over to there. It's a
You would
free
love to
loving,
visit.
sex positive place where everyone is singing all the time. They have delicious treats for everyone.
They love to water their graveyards.
That's important. It's very
Did you
important.
not see, like, because they all have trees growing out of the graves?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they like go in the middle of the night and they water their graveyard, their grave,
It's
all the people, and that naked woman just sobbing, holding a gravestone.
they're not afraid of the concept of death and grief. They're open about their emotions. I love all of this.
We
The outfits
embrace
slay.
new ideas. We return to the earth. We are one with the cycle of nature. Our transmutation allows our souls to run free in the fields, in the bodies of hares, romping around, rollicking. Like, it's a good life, buddy.
Frolicking.
It's
They're
a good
out
fucking
there.
life.
Everybody in the town is cool, and they all go to the pub, and then everybody goes and fucks on the grass outside.
Sounds like a fun vacation spot. I'm just saying.
It does. It sounds
Spring
lovely.
break
And
forever.
Scotland is beautiful. Okay. So beautiful vistas. There's nothing that I couldn't want from what they're giving us here, except for like maybe the child being missing and that whole thing. But that's not for me. That's Sergeant Howie's problem.
Right.
Okay.
And that's like, obviously those circumstances are a little different than they seem initially, okay? So don't even worry about it.
So don't even worry your pretty little head about it. The thing about this movie, I just love that like one of the biggest names in this entire movie is Christopher Lee, who is a fucking icon. He did this movie for free because he just loves that shit. He's the reason that it got viewed by any fucking like press at all because like the production company or whatever, not what is it, the studio. There we go. We got there.
So
The
close.
studio fucking hated this shit and they were trying to bury it. There was so much drama. Do you know what the drama was between the writer and the director? The director is Robin Hardy and the writer is Anthony Schaffer. With David Pinner as well, but his name didn't come up as much. They like fucking fell out from this movie. They hated each other's guts for years. Like something happened here. I don't know what it is. I'm scared.
There was also drama with some producer, it seemed like from what I saw. There was drama with the negatives for this movie where there had maybe been some kerfuffle where they got like
They
cleared
cut a
out and
whole bunch of it.
destroyed. Yeah, when they were clearing out old film from other things and when they like bought a new studio. And
Yeah.
IMDb trivia says there's like a rumor that some of the negatives were somehow used in construction of a highway or something like that because the
The
producer just like
M3
hated it.
highway or whatnot.
Yeah.
What
There,
the
I
fuck?
mean, did somebody make that up? I don't know, but that's what it said. It said that the producer just like fucking hated it and it ended up in the highway. So,
Wow. Yeah, because like they cut this like very severely. There's a lot more that was supposed to be in the final cut. And I think there is a version of it now that you can see, but I don't think I watched that version. I'm pretty sure
where
I
did you
watched
watch this?
I watched it on Prime.
Me
Okay,
too.
same.
It was
At
included
least we've
in
all
Prime.
watched the same.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
we all watched the same version. Don't know if there are other ones out there.
There
We're on the
definitely
same
are
page
some
at
Two
least.
different ones.
Yeah, there's some released like deleted scenes and stuff like that. Good. I'm glad. And so I would love to see those. I'm interested to see like well, I know one of them was like an extended sermon scene with Sergeant Howie when they had that cutaway. Which was like weird when I was first watching it. I was like, what is going on? But they really wanted to like drive home that he is like a fucking godly man and he loves that shit and he gets up on the pulpit in front of all of his homies at church and he tells them everything every week. He does that. He loves to do a reading. He's got it memorized, which I think like adds to like the climactic scene
Yeah.
at the end too cuz like you're prepared for that more cuz you can understand like just how like he fucking means it. He loves God. He really does love God. Good for him. But he's not in the right place for that. But I brought up Christopher Lee because like he's like supposed to be this huge star of this movie. It takes so long for you to actually see him in this movie. But I think it's really fun because it leads up. There's so much like build up.
Anticipation.
Everybody's like, yeah, anticipation. Everyone's like, oh well, you'll have to talk to Lord Summerisle. You'll have to talk to Lord Summerisle. Lord Summerisle says this, he says this, and then you see him, and it's Christopher Lee, and he looks like he got hit by lightning, and that was the greatest reveal.
He did look like he like stuck a fork in an electrical socket.
It was worth it. It was worth it to build up that anticipation just to see him. But I really do think that like even though a lot of the articles that I read were like, "Oh, this movie is only a horror movie in the last 10 minutes." I think it really does do a good job of like building mystery and tension and like uncomfortable feelings. I mean, especially if you're not a free love and sex freak like we are, because maybe you'd
Clearly.
be more upset by the images portrayed on the scene because there is
I
like a
will
lot of
say,
nudity.
yeah, the cut between being like the pole stands for the penis, it's a phallus, it's a dick, and then it cuts to like a dozen tiny children's hands all over it. Like, yeah, it's effective. It's unsettling. Especially if you're not looking for a fun time like that in a movie, you know what I mean? Then the fact that it's kids is really gonna be alarming to you, I think. So for sure there are gonna be people who watch this where the whole time they're horrified.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I love that song, by the way, that all the little boys are singing when they're doing the maypole. Because it's like it reminds me of like there's a birthday
Yeah.
cake in the hole in the pole in the bottom of the sea. Have you ever sang that song at camp? It's like
I don't know that one,
there's
but
a
I
hole,
know the
But have y'all
other
ever played
one.
the
there's a
Ratlin
hole
Bog
in the
drinking
bottom
game?
of the sea. No, what's that?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the Ratlin Bog, the bog down in the valley. Oh, da da, the Ratlin.
That
We
sounds
all don't
I
know
think
the
these
words
are
to the
all
songs we're
different
trying to
versions
sing.
of the same
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it all
Wow,
goes
we're
back
gonna
to
play
the
the Ratlin
same
Bog drinking game right before
pagan
the Ren Fair.
root.
I'm just
Oh,
saying.
I'm so down.
We're
It's
waking
like
up early morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Down in the
Well,
valley. And
that
it,
too, but like the one I'm talking
The
about is
bog in
like
the
there's a
hole and the
thing
hole
on a
in the
thing
bog.
and a thing
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a thing and a
On a
thing's on a
thing.
thing and a thing and a thing. And
The
that's
bird
what
on the
this
tree and the
this
tree
is.
on the branch
You're
and the
the
branch
hole
on
in
the
the
tree
hole.
and the hand
Yeah.
on the hole. Yeah.
And this one,
And the
but
green
this
grass
one's
grows
sex.
all
It's
around,
like
all
there's
around, and the green
Around,
grass
around,
grows
around,
all
goes
around.
around.
There
Yes,
was a hole.
exactly.
There was a hole in the middle of the
In the middle of the ground. Yes, exactly. It's exactly like that, except it's like there was a bee and it made a flower, and the flower did this, and then there was a woman, and the man went on the woman, and then the man had the seed, and then
And
the
then the
seed
woman had
turned
a
into
man,
baby.
a woman had a boy, and a boy became a man, and then the man died.
Yeah.
And then he's in the grave. And then the grave does something.
It's a great song.
It is a great
It's a really
song.
good song.
An
Well,
even
but-
better drinking game. Just saying.
What? Yeah, I want to play it. I'm really interested in it now. Honestly, this other thing about this is what the Ren Fair feels like, okay? And all year I wait for one day, and it's to go to the Ren Fair, and we're going in like 2 weeks. I'm so fucking excited. Well, actually, we'll have gone already by the time this
will we have gone
episode comes
already?
out.
No, this will be the
Right?
week before.
This
This
will
is
be
a week
4
before.
days
Before.
The,
We're
oh
going
my God,
this
okay, so it's gonna be
weekend.
Wow.
social content going to the
Wow.
Renaissance
Oh my God.
Fair.
Oh, it's
Fuck.
gonna be so good. We are so
And you
smart
know,
and
Yeah,
so
everyone
beautiful.
at the
We're
Renaissance
planning.
Fair is slutty and poly, so I think they're gonna really appreciate any Wicker Man discourse.
There we go.
Seriously, the vibes are there. Oh God, I'm so fucking excited. I'm bringing this energy into the Renaissance Fair this year for sure.
All the guys must wear slutty flouncy tops. It's mandatory.
It is. It truly is mandatory. But yeah, I mean, the songs are so good. That song is so good. I particularly love the scene in the classroom because I feel like that's when shit starts to get really crazy, and like you can tell before, like maybe you're like, oh, everyone's being really weird, but like I don't know what's going on with this Rowan kid. Like I don't know if there's a cover up or what. It seems like it, but this is the definitive moment where like everybody's fucking lying to his face. You can see how enmeshed it is that there's like 15 little girls sitting here and they're all lying to the police officer's face. And he immediately calls them out right afterwards because dumbasses
You're all
didn't take your
liars.
name
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Did you know that one of those girls was apparently 21 years old?
What?
Great. Amazing.
Daisy, but I don't know which one she was, but maybe she's the one talking about the beetle
She looked
going
a
around
lot
and
older
around and around.
than-
Yes. That also I think was like an allusion to him. And he's the beetle.
Oh, you're
beetle.
circling? You're on
Yeah.
a string? Yeah.
And he's
You're
getting
doing this
closer
to
and closer, but he's strangling himself as he does it. I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here.
Smart.
I've watched the movie multiple times. I get it now.
I've read things online now and understand.
Well, honestly, I didn't read until I was like 30 minutes ago, so that's why I haven't read that much for this episode because I was watching it again. But last night I watched this movie again and I watched it zooted and I couldn't understand the songs while I was zooted. And I was like, I gotta watch it again so I can understand because the songs really do like inform a lot about the culture of the Summerisle peoples.
It's very funny that you say that though, because actually there's also an IMDb trivia entry that says the main musician guy, Paul Giovanni, I think, he
Yeah.
suggested that he and his band quote smoke dope to try and get into the mood for performing, but once high they were too high to play their instruments. So you guys are all
Sometimes
on the
it
same
be like that.
wavelength.
Eye to eye.
You
I was like,
brought
I
the
don't know what
energy
they're
to
saying.
the film that they wanted from you, actually. The creators wanted that.
Uh-huh. It's true. That's what I was doing all along. Another, yeah. I just I loved that he like realized like everybody is fucking with him. Um, but another thing that I read, and this is getting into one of our segments a little bit earlier than usual, but it like it relates to I feel like the conversation with Christopher Lee that happens very soon after the point that we're at in the film. Um, I was trying to look like up gay, the Wicker Man,
Gay.
queer, the Wicker Man. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have written like actual like
Smart
5 paragraph
things.
essays on this. So some of them I couldn't get access to without paying like $25. And I
Oh,
was like,
let me get my JSTOR login. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. But I found one that I could read for free, and that was really
Academic
fun.
credentials.
And I will have that in the references. But it was about like queerness in folk horror. It had a lot of different movies, but in particularly talking about the Wicker Man, it was about how it like flipped the script on what is queer because the world of Summerisle is like queer to the world, like at large, but Officer Sergeant Howie is the queer one when he comes to the island because he's the straight-laced
'Cause he's
man
weird.
of the law and he's like queer in the sense of being othered. So like everybody else is sex positive, he's this like he's just this Christian
He's subverting the
virgin.
societal gender sexual norms.
Yeah, so he becomes the queer character because of the context that he's in. I thought that was really interesting. I mean, like it's not like it's explicitly gay or whatever, but you know, it's still all in the same conversation. And then there are a lot of more deep things on the article I could not get into. That was $25. That was like the quote that Christopher Lee reads is about snails fucking something gay. I don't know. And I was like, I wish I could read this because I don't get it literally at all. I'll find it in a second. I'll read it to
The
you. But
Snail on the Wall by Walt Whitman.
yes,
It's
Mm.
related to that poem. I think it's
and there
called
was something with that. Queer the Wicker Man. I had the article, but it's on my iPad, so I can't get to it really easily right now.
I have something to say, but I'll save it for this segment because it's also about the very end of the movie. But I certainly think there is space for a read on Howie. What kind is he? He's not like a sergeant, is he? Do we know?
He's a sergeant.
Oh, okay.
His
Sergeant
name on
Howie.
IMDb is Sergeant Howie. And I'm
amazing.
always surprised by how sergeant is spelled, but maybe this is the European spelling.
Always freaks me out. I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but it always is every time.
Seems wrong, but you guys came up with English, so
It's better than Colonel. That's all I have to
Oh,
say.
I know.
But yeah, I love Christopher Lee so much. I think my favorite quote from the whole movie. There's so many good ones, but my favorite one is just this like just a perfect juxtaposition between Lord Summerisle and Sergeant Howie, where like Sergeant Howie's like, "What about God? Don't you want to talk about God? Blah blah blah. You should tell them about God." And Christopher Lee is like, "Well, he's dead. He blew it. Essentially is what he's like. He's like, he had his
He
chance.
had his shot. Yeah.
He blew it. Now he's dead. So that is what it is. And Sergeant Howie like stands up and he's like, what? And it's like the funniest thing. I was hysterical last night. Like it's probably supposed to be a poignant moment, but it was just so funny to me. Like Christopher Lee is like talking so casually about something that is so important to Howie, like his religion is. And it's just like he's literally using like colloquialisms. He's like, you know how they say it nowadays. He blew it.
It's so interesting, that part, because okay, I'm so sorry to any Scotsman out there if I offend you, because I'm not super knowledgeable in the difference between British culture and Scottish culture on some things. And also I think this movie is also not super knowledgeable, is what I saw online, is that like they're pulling a lot of like British pagan rituals and not like
Yeah.
Highland Scottish Gaelic rituals really.
Mhm.
But it is so like the takeaway for me from that scene is like, oh, I'm sorry, person from the UK upholding the UK government. Are you guys upset somehow that colonizers came in and brought their religion to an area that had a pre-established religion? Like now you guys are upset by that because somebody did it to your little area? Like, oh, it's not cool now? You guys don't like that anymore? Because I
Oh,
kind of
that's
thought that was
so
your whole
funny.
fucking thing. Like, oh, did the British aristocracy come in here and recolonize a colonized area? Like, boo fucking who?
Boo fucking who, bitch. Yeah, that's spot
Yeah,
on,
like,
actually.
hello. That's exactly what they did. They're like, we brought back the old gods of the area. Like, you guys tried Christianity. You came in and installed Christianity in this area, blatantly disrespecting any other cultures or religions that already exist here, stamped them out. All we did was bring them back. So, actually, if you're going to be mad and disrespect someone's culture, like, A, I'm not shocked because that's your guys' whole thing, but also be like, where are you? Where do you think we learned it from?
No, totally. It's so easy to want to be on Christopher Lee's side, on Lord Summerisle's side, because like he's cool as fuck.
And I
He's
am.
got swaggy style. He's got a big cool house, and everybody, all of his friends seem happy. You know what I mean? He leads with an open hand, so it seems.
But that's what I want our poll question to be. Which side are you on?
I know
Oh my
exactly what
God.
side I'm on. It's
Yeah,
really not a question for me, is the
it's
thing,
not a question
because,
at all.
yeah, I mean, well, also, here's the thing. Not only did I just do my little colonization rant, but also, like, he's so annoying with the Jesus stuff the whole time. Good for you, Queen, if that's your religion, and I respect you and I support you. But, like, being like, have these children never heard of Jesus? Like, girl, there are a lot of people out there in the world who have all kinds of different religions. Like, it's really not the end
Like,
of the world.
relax.
It's like
And,
that
like,
classic thing where they're like, "Oh, you're gay, but don't make it your whole personality." And you're like, "Bitch, look in the fucking mirror."
yeah, like, girl, you're making being Christian your whole personality, and that's fine. You actually get to pick your personality, and that's up
Yes,
to you. But why are you coming over here trying to pick my personality?
exactly. We all get to be ourselves. That's the nice thing. If we were all the same, everyone would be snoozing. It would be boring as all shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I also just like, obviously he is introduced to the story with a noble purpose, which is that
Yes.
there is a vulnerable preteen girl who has gone missing allegedly, and
Yes.
he is trying to figure out, is that something that even happened? Was she murdered? Was there a cover up of this murder? Is there something else that's going on? What's the deal? That's a good setup. It's a good entry point. If we're meant to root for him, it's like, again, a noble purpose for him to be tirelessly striving after.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, he's being stupid because A, he's being so disrespectful to everybody. And it's like, girl, how are you
You have
gonna
to
solve?
ingratiate
Yeah,
yourself with people so they'll tell you things. You can't just be like,
right.
"You're a
Like that
dumb
one
bitch.
scene.
What happened? Tell me all
Yes,
the inside secrets."
that one scene where he's like, "Where's Rowan?" And Christopher Lee is like, "I thought you were the detective." Like, yeah, girl, do your job. And also, how do you think you're gonna be able to do your job if you're alienating literally everybody here, but also like you're one person, and if you're making an enemy of everybody and you're on an island, what do you think is gonna happen? You're very vulnerable here.
Seriously, but that's his fucking like white Christian man, like patriarchy
Only I can do
ideal.
it. They sent it to me alone.
Exactly. He's like, I have God on my side, and so I cannot do any wrong. And like, I
Girl,
have
I
the
don't know if you
law on my
remember,
side.
but they killed Jesus. So I don't think anybody is invulnerable to persecution.
Yeah, no, there is like a sort of like holier than thou energy that he brings to every interaction. He's just chastising literally everyone all the time. And I'm just like, can you like eat it for a second, bite your tongue? Sometimes you have to talk to people who don't have the same ideas as you do, and it sucks, but you got to do it. Welcome to
This
the real
is
world, jackass.
this is just like the what is it? The I always say Hobog, but that's not it.
The
Um
Hobog,
the episode of Will Trent.
I watched it. I need to watch it. I still haven't watched it. Boo hag, the hoe bag.
The
The
hoe
Boo
bag.
Hag episode of Will Trent, where he has to be respectful to other cultures so that he can learn about them, so he can solve the mystery.
God, I wish I had watched the Boo Hag episode of Will Trent before this episode to
The hoe bag
That's
episode.
actually very needed homework. Yeah, you're just not gonna get the Wicker Man if you
No,
didn't
I
watch
really
the Boo
don't.
Hag episode of Will Trent.
It wasn't coming together for me, and now I see there's a
But
Will
now
Trent
it
shaped
is.
hole in the narrative. Oh God. He's so lame. And like, why can't poor guy? You know, I get that you are engaged and you want to be a nice guy, but like there's 15 sexy ladies doing a fire dance and they're all naked. Like just like chill out. It's exciting. It's exciting. Just try to be chill for 5 seconds, but he can't.
Do you think that Madonna and Britney Spears came up with the concept for that music video based on the scene where Willow and him are like on other sides of the wall?
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry.
Oh.
What's the name of that song? Is it Me Against the Music?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. All my people in the
On the floor, let me see.
let me
Let
see
me
you
see.
dance, let me see you.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's
Yeah.
them
No,
in their
literally.
respective little
Yes.
rooms.
Wait, no, Madonna like does that. Like she does the thing where Willow's like whipping her pussy all around. Sorry. There's no other way to say it. She does that where she like gets down up and down really weirdly with her staff. And I've
I
never
think they
understood why.
watched
Now
Wicker Man.
But
Wow.
now we know where it comes from.
this is gonna be a video clip special. Wow. That's really inspired work, Chelsea. Great job. You have a beautiful mind.
Thank
I love how your mind goes
you.
connect.
Put it together. Put it together.
I I thought things were going in a really different direction though with the whole hair thing. Cause like he went over to Christopher Lee's house. Sorry, Lord Summerisle is a mouthful. He went to Lord Summerisle's house to get permission to exhume Rowan's body, right? And
Mhm.
he exhumes her body, and it's a big bunny. And so I really thought that there was gonna be magic in this.
Oh,
And
I
that,
definitely
like,
also thought at one point there was going to be magic.
yeah, and I just thought like I was sure like I mean, if you saw the twist coming, then that's fucking slay for you. But I was like fully expecting it to be what it was, and that would be enough for me because that's like a cool concept. Like, I thought that like they killed the May Queen or whatever. It's not the May Queen, but like whatever it was called every year. and as a sacrifice to the harvest. And it was like they saw it as an honor. And so it wasn't bad for their people. And then their body turns into a hare because of magic. That's just what I was
And
like,
I'm
that's
willing
it.
to watch that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love that movie. I'm still on Team Summerisle. I'm glad that the twist happened. It made me have no holds back about joining this community and becoming a part of it. Now I'm the twist made it like not morally reprehensible at all for me to make that choice. But I really was expecting it to go full magic because I don't know. This movie was really influential for folk horror in general. It's one of like the like big three folk horror movies. Um, and the reason that it is one of those is just because it has so many of the different elements of folk horror in it. It has like the mysticism, the paganism, the isolation stuff. That's always like a thing, like an isolated community. That's some of
Mm-hmm.
it, but it doesn't have the magical elements that some of them
Well,
might have.
I do kind of feel like he's almost in some sort of trance in the Madonna Britney scene. You know what I mean? Like he is like sweating up against that wall. Like it feels like he is like pulled there by a force outside of himself, but maybe it
Nah,
is
dog, he's
just
just super
horniness.
horny.
Yeah.
He just really wants, because what does this man have in common with our honeymooners episode? Virgin. The
She's still
virginal
on her
through
virgin
line.
honeymoon agenda.
Virgin.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god. Well, yeah, I mean, he's a certified virgin. Jury's still out for me on that lovely couple if they had fornicated before, but he's a certified virgin and he's proud about it. He's like, I'm 35 and I haven't had sex yet
I'm a
because
35-year-old virgin.
And some people
I don't believe
are.
in sex before marriage, and that's totally fine. And I like that he is loud and proud about it. But I also love that Willow's like, I will break him with the power of my sex magic. Oh, now we're getting
Okay.
into love witch territory here.
Well, there's for
Ooh.
sure Love Witch overlap. Like Love Witch for sure watched Wicker Man because they've got their whole Renaissance fair scenes where they're doing
Yeah,
music and singing and the sun and blah blah blah.
it's
A little
really.
magic, yeah.
I mean, maybe now's a good time before we get towards the second act of this movie. Talk about the like Midsommar connections to it, because that's what everybody says. Like this movie is
Mm-hmm.
so
Well,
informative
Midsommar is
to.
so yeah,
Yeah, this movie is informative to understanding Midsommar because you can see where it got
the
a lot of
blueprint.
its DMA from, but they are such different movies. Um, and not that Midsommar had so much gore in it and that sort of a thing. But it is really spectacular to me how the Wicker Man has like literally none at all in the
Mm-hmm.
entire movie, and it still creates such like dread, even though I was laughing the whole time, you know what I mean? Because it is such a outlandish film just to watch in the modern day, especially not knowing what you're getting into. But like when I was watching it on this third watch, I was like, this is really good. This is honestly really fucking good. Like jokes aside, like this is a good story. It's really cool how it's told. It's silly how it's told, but this is a joyous, laughing people. So like that's just how it is. But it is so horrifying. And when it gets to the end, it's so scary. I feel like Midsummer has the horror on the front end, and throughout, but it's more of like a slasher in a way almost because people are dropping off.
What this
But
movie makes me think of is another movie in its little collection, how we did The House of the Devil to Possession, and we did Late Night with the Devil to this the vibes in many ways are very The House of the Devil, where it's like the extended long build up where nothing really happens necessarily, but you've been told there's reason to be suspicious and reason to be alarmed. They did have the Greta Gerwig thing early on in that movie. So like there's more there than here, but we open with a missing girl. So there is like a suggestion of violence or foul play or something. It really made me think of that. And also one of the points that I brought up on that episode that the movie doesn't really get into. So I don't know for sure if it's part of that world. It's for sure part of this world. The element of choice in the sacrifice, like the element of like, you had to make decisions to be here. We couldn't just select someone to be sacrificed. There has to
Uh-huh.
be an element of willingness in it. It's your
Yeah.
will to come to this place.
No, totally. That is really interesting. I mean, that's just another nod towards Ty West that he really did nail it, because like this is another pattern that he's following from a movie that came out like, within 5 years before when this movie was, or within 10 years when his movie was supposed to have been released. Um, or when it was set, excuse me. But yeah, I think that it is really cool to have two movies that are so similar, like Midsommar and The Wicker Man, but so completely different. You know what I mean? Like Midsommar, like took that energy, took like horror in broad daylight, and did that in such an interesting way and in arguably a more horrific way. Um, but I love this one. I love the ideas of religion in this, and like what is strange. It depends on where you are. You know what I mean? The queerness and othering thing really, really spoke to me. I really liked that aspect of it. And another thing that I read, I think in that same article where I read about the queerness thing, is that like this movie flips the script, especially in 1973, on the rules of a slasher or a horror movie. Everyone who does fuck stays alive,
Right.
and everyone who doesn't fuck does
Dead.
not. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting too.
But also too, this could be like a mystery movie and with a horror ending.
Totally. I mean, that's just the setup for a lot of slow burns, There's just like a bunch of weird shit happening, and you're like, I feel weird. And then at the end, something fucking nuts happens. And I really like those.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. This could be like a lot of those movies that aren't necessarily horror, but are like sort of horror adjacent, that are
Adjacent.
just kind of police procedurals, detective movies in many
Mhm.
ways. And it's like, it's so close to being a horror movie, other than they kind of set themselves aside from the genre. They're just dealing with a world of like violence and murder and crime. But the formula is there.
Totally. I think this one takes it a step further though, just because I don't know, the world building is so like robust and amazing. Like this, like I guess last quarter of the movie where it's everybody in those masks parading around the town. Oh my God,
When
it's
are we gonna create our
so
own weird animal masks?
Scary. Scary,
so
scary.
good. Also, like Fantastic Mr. Fox watched this movie.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
sorry, those masks really reminded me of that. So Wes Anderson, I see you. But it was so ominous, and the way that they like unveiled little pieces of the May Day festival that would become important later. Like the whole thing with like the three different characters, the fool, Christopher Lee's beautiful woman. I don't remember what she was supposed to be. And the horseman combo guy. I don't remember the names of each of them. I'm so sorry. But I love how they like he unveiled that in his research.
And his
And
classic horror movie library research scene. Yep.
yes, I love when he gets the photos and all the stuff, and he just like he has his foregone conclusion. He is so set in his foregone conclusion that like this group of people conspired together to kill a child. Like he's like, that is what is happening, or they're gonna kill them today because May Day is obviously a big day for them. And he's so sure, and he doesn't again try to ingratiate himself with anyone at any given time. So he's just like going on his gut. And I get it. There's a lot of evidence there. They took the picture down. That's so weird that the picture's gone.
They don't have
Like
any
there's
apples. There are no apples on this island. He wants apple for dessert.
Weird.
Where's his
all the
apple?
That was a fun little part when he's eating that shitty ass dinner and he's like, "Why is all this in cans? I thought you were supposed to have like good fucking shit here." And she's
Like,
like,
it all gets shipped out, my dude.
Yeah,
We
she's
don't
like,
eat it.
"Oh, hey girl, yeah. We are famous for our fruits and veggies, which the mainland always takes from us.
once
So we took a
again.
little from the mainland."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it it's so funny. I love also how authoritative he is. Like I hate it, but I love that he's such a fucking dick because it's so funny. Like when he like goes over to those kids, like he's good. He's like, I'm gonna look through every single house and I'm gonna find Rowan. Okay. And he
Yeah,
sees
well,
the
that
kids in the
also
window and he's like, take off your masks. And they're like, no. And he's like, do it. And they're like, okay.
Sure, why
Well,
not?
that was also why I was so anti him from the beginning too. Like I'm sorry, I do love a police procedural. It is one
Me
of my
too.
flaws.
Same.
But
I love a good propaganda.
unfortunately,
We know
sometimes
what it is.
that's where
We
the
know it's
story, I
lying.
love a mystery. But yeah, he's really doing the thing that they do it a lot of the time where he goes, I'm a man of the law and my purpose is pure, therefore I don't need to do anything legally. I am legal. And so
I am the law.
yeah, he's like,
Listen.
oh, you're gonna tell me I can't look at your little books in your classroom to look at your roster? Well, guess what? I'm doing it anyway, and you're just gonna have to deal. Like, girl, where's your warrant? Like, I know this is not America currently, and I don't know how the law worked over there at that time, but I'm pretty sure it's not like
You
that.
need a warrant.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you are violating rights.
Oh, remember when there's that candle and it's a hand?
Yeah, the hand of glory.
The hand of
The
glory.
He
hand
could
of
sleep
glory.
forever. We don't know how
Well,
long.
there is
he's
some
sleep-
magic. There is some magic for sure. The candle hand is a magic thing for sure.
I guess it's one of those things where it's like, is it magic or is this a belief that they have, and who knows if it's real, in the same way that there are a lot of, because that's what they point out to him at one point too. He's like, oh, Jesus, you're a Lord who was born of a virgin who XYZ and ABC. Like, if I say it out loud to you, that doesn't sound at all wonky. And you're just so ingrained in it that you're not questioning it at all. But like, even when I say it back to you, you don't see how there's a lot of similarities here. And like, let's not even get into Christmas and the Christmas tree being like a very pagan symbol and blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
girl, you're unquestioning of your religion, but you're going to come here and question my religion.
Also, what was that whole deal in that same conversation where he was like, why are those girlies jumping over the fire naked? And he's like, they're trying to
They're
figure
learning
out how
about
to give.
fucking.
Yeah, but they also was saying something about like giving birth without a man or something. And I was like, okay,
I thought he was
cool.
saying it was sex without the purpose of reproduction. So just for fun.
It's just
Oh.
practice.
But
Okay,
I
get
still
it.
don't really understand why that's naked jumping over the fire, but I don't need to. That's not for me to. I'll go there, I'll learn hands on, and I'll
it
respect their
looked beautiful.
culture. Yeah.
And I love the song. The song slapped.
Right. Yes.
Some of these songs I was listening to them and I was like, I'm gonna listen to this again.
Put the
I was like,
soundtrack on.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna put this on and
Right?
I'm gonna bop about. Like this is
I
great.
understand why this movie had a renaissance because they re-released the soundtrack. Like,
It's really fucking good. It's really, really good. Oh man. Yeah, I mean he's just so silly. But I love that he gets himself into the situation where he has to play the fool and he has to play along in their little
my
parade.
God.
That part was so funny to me. Like he bonks the real fool. Oh, really quick before that, the salmon of knowledge. Just want to
The
bring up the
salmon of
salmon.
there's the salmon of knowledge.
There's so many little the salmon of knowledge is everything to me. Wow. That would be a really funny niche costume to whip that on Halloween. Oh, what are you? Oh, I'm the salmon of knowledge.
Knowledge,
Duh.
what do you mean? What am I?
Just the exact same as it said in the movie. Because he just like opens
Really
his closet and he's
obvious,
like, oh,
yeah.
that's the salmon of knowledge. And
What else
everyone's
would
like,
it
yep,
What about it?
don't ask me
You
any
got
more
follow-up
questions.
Because I don't know why you would.
Yeah, because everybody else here knows and you're gonna look really fucking stupid if you say you don't know. But I love that, like, I don't know, like yes, there's stuff that could have been up to chance, but like I feel like it was set up so he could bonk that guy real easily so he could
Oh yeah.
become the fool. Like all of it
They're like,
all of
he's
it was
listening while we
predetermined.
whisper about the hand of glory, right? He's sitting here listening while we're explaining that we want him to
Yeah.
be sleeping in here tied up for days so that he'll go do exactly the opposite of that because he's so like, I hate everything about you guys and don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, so that was a fake thing too. It's just a spooky hand candle for fun.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I don't know if it was just a spooky hand candle for fun or if there was magic because also on IMDb trivia it said that Ian Cutler, one of the musicians in this movie, because of the way it's been so cut and recut over the years, there's some like question about scenes that may or may not have existed at one point. And he remembers a dream sequence that they filmed that had to do with while Sergeant Howie is sleeping with the hand of glory burning. He like remembers working on a dream sequence for that. That is not, there's no evidence that it exists anywhere other
Did
than
he
one of
just
the
have
musical
a dream
arrangers.
sequence himself?
Yes. Well, the musical arranger Gary Carpenter also remembers something. He said, I have a vivid memory of having to score a phenomenally complex dream sequence for Howie, which was like post scoring an animation. It was so intricate. Like they both have this memory of something that was supposed to go there that they worked on. So again, it's really hard to know what this movie was supposed to be exactly, but the text of it being what it is, yeah, they said, oh, I hope he doesn't hear us talking about how we want him to go to sleep in his room for 5 days. And he's
I
like,
love that
me
she
asleep?
still.
I'm getting out of here.
I love that she, even though like he is asleep and like can't hear her, she's still like flirting technically, like when
Yeah,
it's
she's
so
like,
funny.
Sweet sleep, sweet princess. But yeah, I just love that whole sequence where like Christopher Lee is like, you're supposed to be the fool. Get your act together. Like put your full pussy into it. Like whip that bladder around was like the quote almost. Because he has a bladder that he's whipping all around. And like he has to start whacking all the girls in the booty with it. That must have been hard for him.
Must
to
have been
get
really
into-
hard for him. Nobody's thinking about how hard it is for him.
I know. I'm here to bring that up. Don't worry. I'm here to advocate for Sergeant Howie. But God, also I just am so obsessed with like the imagery of like the 6 knives or swords coming together to like make the star and
The
that whole
sun.
game or the sun, yeah, to make the
And then
whole game with the heads popping up between that. I just thought that was like really visually stimulating. To see like every time they put their head up, they really had looks of fear on their face for the most part, especially that girl with the cute little eye mole thing. And I loved the fake out with what's that, Daisy?
Holly. That was Holly.
Fucking Holly with the like what am I trying to say? Atomically correct bunny head that when they cut it, it had blood. Like that was very cool.
I want to start doing that, the pentagram sword thing where we're like, you could die or not.
Yeah, we should. It's like that game where you stab the knife around someone's hand. It's like similar to that.
Yeah.
Except more is on the line than just your fingers. Cool. But yeah, I thought that whole sequence was just so stunning. I was like, I want to be in this parade. And he really thinks he got him. He really thinks he got him. He's like, there she is. Rowan, I'll save you. Come with me. Blah blah blah. And he leads her through the cavern of horrors, blah blah blah.
Not even he leads her through. She's like, I know the way out. Yeah. And he's like, oh, great. I'll go wherever you go, queen.
And at the end of it, that shot is so good when he's just holding on to her and they got through and she's like, I'm sorry, it was crazier than I thought. And he looks all upset and you see her face, and she's just like filled with like brilliant, glowing joy and love. And I was like, why is she making that face? And then they fucking reveal it. Oh man, this reveal was so good. Did you guys think something was up? Like, what was?
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as he was going back to his plane and they were popping out with their little animal masks, honestly,
Yeah.
I thought they were going to kill him right then, and that was going to be the ritual, just that they like lured him in, and then on his way out, they were going to like shoot him down out of the sky or something.
Mhm.
So I for sure at that point was like, oh, he's the sacrifice. They brought him here. He's the sacrifice. I didn't necessarily foresee the Rowan twist aspect of it, but when they revealed you're the sacrifice, I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, of course it
That
is.
100% tracks.
No, yeah. It was so good. It's just so good because he really didn't see it coming. He didn't see it coming at all. And he still
Which
thinks he can
is
get away. He's like, I'll jump into the sea. No, you can't. I'll run up the hill. No, that big guy's gonna knock you down.
Yeah, he's like, I'll appeal to their Christian natures. Girl, they are not Christian. I don't know why you keep thinking this is gonna work for you.
He's a one-trick pony.
He's just got the one thing. I don't know. It's I he is going through a lot in that moment, and I feel for him, but again, it just feels like, yeah, you had a lot. Could he have really left? I don't know. Again, they sabotaged his plane. He did try to leave, but he made a lot of choices that brought him here. And I think if he had been a little more open minded and learned a little bit more about their culture and been a little bit more interested in it, he would have put the pieces together that they're not going to sacrifice one of their own if they don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that once he was on that island, they never would have let him go. But I kind of sometimes those types of stories really upset me, like, oh, they never had a chance to survive. But like this one, I just love how meticulously planned everything was. I was like, honestly, who's their project manager? Like, there's so many moving parts here. Amazing, amazing performance, 10 out of 10.
And the fact that they did this all without the internet.
Amazing. They
Well,
didn't even
'cause,
have
like,
Twitter to organize.
Exactly. They weren't texting each other the plan. They all just knew.
They weren't on Signal. Yeah. He had chances to survive. It's not a completely inescapable scenario. It's just that the movie only starts when he shows up, and from that point on, he's doomed.
Oh,
He
yeah.
made a choice. It's just that
To
that
go
choice
out there.
predates a little bit the
The film.
circumstances of the film. Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was so incredible though. Like he's trying to fight for his life, and then he just has to stand there as they like start the ritual. Like when they start like cleaning him and like and wiping
And
their
like
hair
touch
on
his
him.
nipples.
They're painting him. They're putting paint on him, anointing him, and
Like a king. He's king-like because he represents the law.
he's the fool, so he's king for the day. That's the whole ritual.
He's a virgin. He's king-like. He represents the law, and he put on the fool's costume. So, girl,
King virgin,
you're the
king
one that brought
virgin.
all of the ingredients to
Virgin.
recipe night.
Yeah, seriously. And I love how Lord Summerisle's like, guess what? It's so great. You get to be a martyr.
Girl,
Isn't that so
this is
fun?
actually, I
This
know
is
you're
what you've
really
always wanted.
religious, and I actually thought you would like this because not only do you get to die a good Christian death, you get to die a martyr. You're gonna hang out with the saints forever, girl.
Yeah.
You
Don't
believe
you
in
wanna
your
die
whole
with
thing,
your
don't
homies?
you? So like you and all those other guys, that's forever, guy. Like live it up.
According to you, you're gonna ascend to high heaven.
Why are
This
you
will be
scared,
great.
girl? This is
You're
as
gonna
good
have
as
a
it
great
could
time.
possibly get for you.
Oh man. I do think it's cool though. The actor who played Sergeant Howie, Edward Woodward. Wow. Edward Woodward. Say that. Edward Woodward. Very hard to say. Anyway, he like refused to be able to see the set with the Wicker Man leading up to the scene. So that moment when he sees the Wicker Man for the very first time, and he's like, "Oh God, oh Christ." Like, I just love the way his voice sounds so much when he in that moment. It's just haunting. Like, as silly as this movie is, like this last portion is really fucking terrifying.
You
Like,
believe his fear for sure. Yeah.
you really believe his fear. So he like wanted to feel that for the first time, really put himself in the character's shoes. And also, they actually lit it on fire while he was inside. And the
I
animals
love
were in there too.
authenticity in films.
I heard the goat did not like filming this at all.
What?
The goat was
That's
like,
The goat
why?
pissed on him.
Yeah.
The goat pissed on him while he's like trying to like act his ass off in this one shot when they're burning the effigy. And like apparently there's like a trap door in the back that they could just pull it open real quick and like whip him out of there real fast. I'm like, okay, the 70s were a trying, terrifying time to be in the film industry. Apparently it like really shook him up. He was very
Sure.
scared, and I don't blame him.
I don't blame
I'd be
him.
scared too.
But yeah, I mean, him just like trying to say like words from the Bible and still trying to change their mind, even when he's in there and even when it starts to burn. And they just like start singing their little song, the little like cuckoo, cuckoo song. Oh my God. It's horrific. It slaps. It's beautiful. It's stunningly beautiful. And it's very, very scary. I don't know. I was blown away by the end. And also, again, like I said earlier, any trepidations I had about this male dominated sex cult, I was like, it's not as male dominated as I thought. They're not killing off all the little girls. They're not doing that. They're killing off random white men who are cops. That's fine.
We have plenty of those to go around. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as Rowan's chill, I'm chill. And sign me
she's
up.
not just chill, she's very excited and she did a good
She
job.
was.
And she'd like to be told so, please.
Yeah, everyone was like, honestly, slay, Rowan. Great job.
Play Rowan.
Oh man. I loved this ending. I loved it
It's
so
a
much.
gorgeous, beautiful ending to look at too. Like the way it just is like, and he's burning and he's screaming and they're singing and the sun is setting. And would you look at that sunset? Cut to credits.
Beautiful.
And
when
scene.
when it's just him too in the Wicker Man and he's like saying like God your disciple, and then he says his own name, Neil Howie, will like be
Mhm.
like coming to
He's
you
trying
on
to
this
like give
day.
himself his last rites.
Yeah, like that. Oof, wolf.
Yeah.
Um,
Really
but
sad.
also
Effective.
got to get the crops back. So
What are
sorry,
they gonna
Howie.
do, girl? The apples were gone. You saw how upset you got about apple being gone. No apple for dessert. Imagine how all of us feel. Imagine how we all feel.
Come on, you could do this one thing for us so we can have apples.
You were gonna tantrum about apple. We didn't even tantrum. We problem solved, okay?
It's true.
Food is not everything. That's what they said at the diner scene.
Oh yeah, as I said, food is not everything. I couldn't agree less, but you know. Okay,
That's her
time
being
for
facetious.
our segments. How could this movie be gayer? I know you had more gay thoughts, Chelsea.
Yes, okay. So, I have a gay thought and then I also did some research. You know how he screams out Daniel at the end? Daniel, Daniel.
Yeah, I
There's
didn't
a
get that.
Reddit thread where they were supposing that it is probably a biblical reference. One
Mhm.
person thought that it was a plea to Daniel from the Bible who was saved by God at the last minute in the lion pit.
Oh, that's so dark.
Someone also
Ugh.
said there's another
his
Bible
Hail Mary.
story. Yeah, there's another Bible story about Daniel's disciples, Shadrach, I don't know how to say these names, Meshach and Abednego, who were thrown into a furnace but didn't burn. So that would be a good reference as
Yeah.
well. I think that he is doing the godly Christian thing that we kind of talked about from The Exorcist, where he's repressing his homosexuality in a Christian way and choosing to be a godly Christian man who is waiting for marriage and saving himself for the woman he's engaged to. But actually, it's been very easy for the most part to resist temptation that is otherworldly and perhaps even magical in this film, because he's screaming out for his lover Daniel at the end, who is like the man who has his heart, who he was always going to like share his life with in platonic beautiful brotherly love, but could never be with. And then in his final moments he's screaming out for Daniel. I was like, that's his gay lover.
You're gonna make me cry again.
Daniel's his man. That's his guy.
That's who he's engaged to.
I think he's engaged to a woman. I just think in his heart it was like the priest thing that we were talking about on The Exorcist. It's like,
yeah,
it's really fine to be gay as long as you never do gay stuff, but you can have love.
It's a sin to have impure thoughts, I'm pretty sure, but I'm gonna let it slide. I've got the authority.
I'm gonna let it slide. And the Bible says that, and let he who is without sin cast the first stone, and like blah blah blah. So
look at you saying stuff I've heard before. I don't know what it means.
He just he's like, I didn't fuck Daniel, I just loved Daniel, and we should all have love for our fellow man, etc.
Well, I love this read, but it is tragic.
Well, it's tragic either way, but
it's either way.
Further proof of his queer identity in this film if Daniel is his lover back on the mainland. Not his lover in the sense of they've been together, his lover in the sense of the person who owns the biggest share of his heart. That's beautiful. Daniel, baby.
Any other gay thoughts?
I mean, there's so many gay thoughts.
Where would Matthew Lillard fit into this movie? Was he alive for this one yet? When was he born?
I think he's like 3.
He was 3. Yeah, he was born in 1970. He could have been one of those children with the maypole. I feel like he would have been really good. Sorry to give him one of the freaky little roles that everyone gets mad about. Just that one listener who we love. But he would have been great as the crypt keeper guy. Like opens up the bunny coffin, is like
and who's like, where else would her umbilical cord be? Of course it's hanging from her tree on her grave.
Duh.
That was something else. That was something else.
I think he would have made a great jaunty little seaman who we meet
yes,
like, right at the beginning.
What I was gonna say. I was gonna say like a future Matthew Lillard. If we're doing our time traveling thing, like an older Matthew Lillard could be one of those guys. And apparently some of the, well, I don't know how old those guys were, but like Willow, the landlord's daughter, apparently the guy who played her father was only 4 years older than her. So, you know, people's ages clearly are a little misleading at many points in this film. So like we could just throw him in now and he'd do great with those old
little age makeup. That'll be perfect. I'd love to see that. Any other spots for him? I think that's good.
It would it'd be interesting to see him be Howie.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But I did love this guy.
Yeah,
I really thought
this guy was
he
good.
nailed
he did
it.
really
Edward
good.
Woodward. He wasn't their first choice. Well, I think one of the main people involved really wanted him. They wanted some other folks, but I'm really glad it was him because he just had that perfect like assuredness in his face and and his voice. I just loved his voice. It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to dumb bitch. It's him.
Sorry, Howie.
It's Sergeant Howie. Yeah.
Sorry,
he's a
Sergeant
victim
Neil
blame,
Howie.
Sorry, Sergeant Neil Howie.
But we're going to.
Yeah.
You're a dumb bitch. You're a dumb bitch.
I guess I don't
know. Also, it couldn't be anyone else because they're all so smart because they did such a great job fooling him.
Yeah. those 12-year-olds in school did a great job of lying and being like, she never
Yeah.
existed. So, like,
They're great
we've never
liars.
seen this girl in picture before. Yeah, I mean, they're all in on the gag. So it would be
That
very
one little
hard.
girl who's hiding in her little like wardrobe thing and like fake falls out and
Who,
pretends to
yeah,
be
who does
dead.
the
So
fake death.
smart.
Love
So
her.
incredible.
Absolute
Genius.
slay.
Genius.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very difficult to give it to anybody else, and he was tricked and duped. And I don't know how policing worked back then because, again, like you're saying, there's no internet. I don't know if they really had phones to call the mainland much on the Summerisle, but it really feels like he was not doing very good police work either. So,
Yeah. No, it's got to be him. It's got to be him.
sorry, Howie.
Sorry, Howie. But
You got
you're dead.
Yeah.
And
It didn't turn out
actually,
great for you. You gave it your best effort.
You tried
Maybe you
so
shouldn't have.
hard.
Actually, is he dead? Maybe we'll bring this up now. There is
Oh.
a sequel of this movie that was never made, but it is like an audio story, and it's written by the same writer, by Anthony Schaefer. And it has like illustrations to it now. And apparently it's like fucking insane, like gore horror fest. And like Neil survives. Sergeant Howie somehow survives. And these policemen come to help him. And he like is like on like a revenge fucking kick, trying to like fuck up all the people who fucked him up. It sounds so dumb. Sorry. I don't want to
He
see
John
it. I
Wicks
like that he's
it?
dead. Can I spoil it for you though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he commits suicide at the end though. I don't know. I just I like
He
just
said, and
briefly
my
read the
mission is
synopsis.
complete. That's a
And I was
sin.
like,
What's wrong with him? He's a
He
dumb
would never
bitch.
do that. He's a Christian, good Christian.
Don't know. But apparently I think it's Robin Hardy and Christopher Lee. They created a spiritual sequel to this movie that was called The Wicker Tree, and it came out in 2011. And I don't
I
know
saw something
anything
about
about
that.
that, but it's a spiritual sequel, so and it's got Christopher Lee in it, so I want to see it. I'm very interested in that. But anyway, that brings us to our knives out of fives.
So on IMDb, this movie has a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty good. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 91% fresh from critics and 82% fresh from audiences. And I didn't write down anything about the awards because they seemed not as relevant to me when I was looking at them earlier. But now that you guys are talking about all of the re-releases and stuff, I do think it's interesting and worth noting that the nominations it got at and the wins it got at the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films Saturn Awards were all in 1979. So I don't know why then, but I'm just flagging it now if anybody wants to look into that and learn more and perhaps even report back. Feel free to report back in a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Look at her
or,
go.
you know, wherever feels right in your heart. But
you can just DM us too.
you can just DM us. You could comment on any post. You could pop into Spotify in the open question, whatever that may be, and say, side note, something else. Just facts. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea how it was received at the time.
It wasn't received well. It wasn't received well. The studio tried to bury it because they were embarrassed by it and they didn't like it. And so Christopher Lee,
they made it a B movie.
Oh yeah, that's true. December
This movie would have been perfect
is
for
all year round.
December.
No wonder I was thinking of the Yule goat.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. It was all connected all along. But Christopher Lee like really liked this movie a lot. I mean, like I said, he did it for free and he wanted people to see it. And so like the studio's trying to bury it, so they didn't have any like press shit for it. And so Christopher Lee literally called up all the press contacts that he knew and was like, I will pay for your ticket. Please go see this movie. I will pay for your ticket. Please go see this movie. And so he
And
got
he
people
flew
out there.
around and he did a tour for it also,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
There was something
He
on
did it
IMDb
himself.
trivia that was like, Iowan farmers were surprised to wake up and see him on their local news station. He was just absolutely out there getting the word out, spreading the word. He said,
Totally.
if they're not going to show this to the masses, I will. I'll take it to the people.
He'll take it to the people. It's important. So, I mean, with that, I don't know exactly how people felt about it then. It seemed like people didn't love it immediately. And then it got the cult vibes as time went on. But I don't know. It's surprising to me. I get how it can be hokey, but it had fucking star cast. Brick Eklund was the moment at the time. You know what I mean? Christopher Lee is a prestige actor that people fucking love. You know what I mean? I don't know who these other people are, but they said that there are other starlets in it. So Diane Calento, she could be someone that's very famous. She played Miss Rose. She was beautiful. Lots of babes in this too. But I'm glad to see it had such good ratings nowadays because I'm just gonna go first. This is a 5 out of 5 for me. This is one of the most interesting, just I was at a loss for words when I first saw this movie. I was like, what the fuck? Similar to how I felt about Possession, but completely different. Not horror, joy. I was just they really did horror in a different way, especially for that time. And folk horror is my number one. And so to see so many movies that I love be inspired by this movie, it was really cool to see that and put those things together. And I love that it was a musical. I really didn't expect that. And I'm so glad that I really paid attention to the words this time too, because the song slaps. They really move not the plot along, but the lore along. And I loved it. Visually stunning. I'm gonna start dressing like a 70s fucking pagan again. That's it. 5 out of 9. 5 out of knives. 5 out of knives.
I really like this movie. Folk horror is something that can be a hit or miss for me. I love all the aesthetics always, but sometimes it's it takes
The
a
tone
while.
can be different.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it just doesn't capture my attention as somebody who has the attention span of a goldfish.
Sure.
Where
Fair.
I'm engaged enough. But this movie is short and it gets to the point and you're okay. And there was a couple times where I was wait, what happened? And I had to rewind because my brain, but I think the singing weirdly helped.
It always
keep
does.
me engaged.
Yeah, for a reformed Glee girl, it's just brings you in.
Right? I was okay, I would have loved to have seen Glee do Wicker Man week. They burned
Hell
Mr.
yeah.
Shoe at the end. I just
Oh my
feel like it would have been so good. So I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5 for me, or a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
Monica, you said the word joy, and I was yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that this is a very joyous viewing experience. It's very pleasant. It sounds great. It's very engaging. It's short. It's fun. It is a little kind of slow paced at moments, but it has a rhythm to it that is kind of hypnotic. So that's a very special element that's so interesting considering what the lore is and the plot is. I'll be curious to see if it really is something that sticks with me, but it was an enjoyable viewing experience for sure. And I think I was telling my hairstylist about it earlier. I was it's interesting. It's for sure interesting. It's not cheesy, it's not schlocky, it's doing its thing, but definitely she was the first person I ever talked to about Midsommar. She'd seen it before I had, and she was telling me about it, and I was this is for sure in conversation with that. There is these are two movies who are soul sisters, but
They're
I
the
think,
sisters.
yeah, I think I'll give it 4 knives out of 5s. And I'll be so curious to see if I circle back to this in the future.
You will be when I get my tattoo of the sun on my ass. No, I don't know where I'm gonna get it, but I'm feeling inspired, and I'm just gonna go for it. You know what I mean? Wow, I had a great time. Thank you for indulging me yet again, but it's not my time to be indulged anymore, is it, Chelsea?
It's my time. It's Chelsea time. Back to Chelsea. This is something that I put on our calendar literally years ago.
Yeah.
Not terribly long after I came up with the concept of Fifth Tuesday, because that's what's coming up next week. We've got a Fifth Tuesday, my friends. But not long after I came up with the concept, I was like, it would be so fun to do Ocean's 8 at one point, because Anne Hathaway in the pink dress in that movie is
Gay.
yeah, exactly. It's very important to me. It is very effective for me. I think we need to have a whole episode about it, maybe. And I was like, you know what? The Met Gala, which is part of what the plot of Ocean's 8 focuses on, is always not always, but for the most part, it's the first Monday in May. So if we could find a spooky Tuesday, Fifth Tuesday at the end of an April, then it would be the perfect way to build up to talk about the Met Gala all week long. That blah, blah, blah. I was so excited. I went through the calendar. I looked through 2 or 3 Aprils before I found one that had a Fifth Tuesday. And I said, that is the day that we will do Ocean's 8. So
And
next
we
week,
are.
we're doing Ocean's 8, the Ocean's
never
movie
seen
for
it.
girls.
I love all the other
And Sandra
Ocean's
Bullock's in it,
movies.
so.
Well, I'm so glad that's true, because this is the only one of them I've seen. So I'll need you to bring the expertise
yeah,
for the
maybe
other
I'll
ones.
rewatch some of the other ones too. I remember watching the first one and I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Maybe
so
I'll
I'm
also watch
excited.
them. I am really into Julia Roberts right now, so maybe I'll go through. But I love Sandra Bullock is always my girl. Kate Blanchett loves to play a gay little role. Rihanna's in this movie. There's so much going for it. You know what I mean?
Excited.
So
I'm excited. I feel like we're getting a little taste of Pride Month, so
woo,
that's
I'm
exciting.
excited. Yeah, I'm ready.
Sydney, what was the poll question that you wanted for the Wicker Man?
Whose side are you on? The
Oh,
ACAB, side, the meh side, or the lovely pagans who are just trying to get a bountiful harvest?
Look,
Team
they just
Summerisle
want
or Team
apple.
Howie? Ugh. You know where our allegiances lie.
You know where we stand.
Real quick, as you know, our merch has closed, but I just wanted to say again, thank you guys for all of your orders, and hopefully those things will be coming to you very soon. So keep your eye on the mailbox. And also, why not give us a beautiful 5-star review and say, wow, Chelsea's hair looks so good. Did you
Oh my God,
repink?
stop.
Did you repink?
You guys, stop.
Like, oh my God, wait, Sydney, Monica, did y'all shower? You look great.
I did shower today.
I could tell them, and they could too, and they're gonna write it in a 5-star review. And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on everything except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we are Spooky Tuesday Pod. And don't forget that we're on YouTube. Looking so sexy. How else will you know that we're this sexy and we have hair that is clean right now? All 3 of us at the same time.
Whoa,
All in one episode? That never
wow,
happens.
that never happened.
Also, we look really cute today because we all dressed up like little fucking Wicker Man Summerisle bitches. And
We're
it's a really good look
excited
for
the
all of
Ren Fair,
us.
guys.
So
Ren
excited.
Fair, Ren Fair.
Ren
So
Fair,
fucking
Ren
stoked.
Fair.
So subscribe there. And at the end of the day, I have to say, see you next Tuesday. And thank you for listening.
Bye, spookies.
You, Sergeant, are the right kind of adult, as our painstaking researches have revealed. You uniquely, were the one we need.
A man who would come here of his own free will. A man who has come here with the power of a king by representing the law. A man who would come here as a virgin. A man who has come here as a fool.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at great18_. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can find on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's Ryan, RYAN, Brom, BROMM, Art, ART. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.tumblr.com.